Welcome, friends. Thanks for liking my videos and subscribing to my channel. My name is Tim. I do villages related content. And today's video is a walk and talk video. And we're going to talk about amenity fees. It is a villages news video. And the news we're going to talk about is the new prevailing rate of the amenity fees that was increased January 1st, 2025. And the prevailing rate was increased from $195 to $199, effective January 1st. And I did look at this article in the villages-news.com. And the Villages has announced a cost of living hike for amenity fees, which took effect on New Year's Day. The adjustment based on the Consumer Price Index impacts the contractual amenity fee for all previously owned homes closed on or after January 1st, 2025, and all new homes contracted in the Villages on or after January 1st, 2025. The monthly amenity fee for such homes is also known as the prevailing rate. The new prevailing rate is $199 per month, according to a letter from the Village's Vice President of Development, Robert Chandler, and addressed to District Manager Kenny Blocker. In 2019, the Amenity Authority Committee, which oversees amenities north of County Road 466, and the Project-Wide Advisory Committee, which oversees amenities south of County Road 466, both voted to remove the cap on amenity fees. The cap had previously been set at $155 per month. The AAC committee has a meeting next month to discuss the future of amenity rates. That meeting will take place at 9 a.m. on February 18th at the Savannah Center. So that is what is contained in the news article. And I think it's important that all of the villagers, the residents of the villages, understand what the AAC committee is going to discuss at the February meeting regarding the prevailing rate. Will there be a cap on the amenity fees that are charged monthly? And I came across a news article that was addressed to Don Wiley, at the time, the district manager or a district board member of district number 10. And I came across the article on talkofthevillages.com. And a resident wrote a letter to Don Wiley regarding the cap on the amenity fees. And Don Wiley explains the cap like this. The Consumer Price Index has traditionally fallen short of actual cost increases. So it is a constant losing battle to keep costs down each year to ensure that the Repair and Replacement Fund is not used to cover annual operating expenses. And if you noticed, if you look at all of your district budgets, each residential district has its own unique budget, you will see they have different sources of funding in the budgets. One of the sources of funding they have is repair and replacement funds. So they set aside a certain amount of money in the repair and replacement fund, not to be used for daily operating expenses. There has been a lot of talk about a cap on the amenity fee. Don Wiley says there was never a cap. There was what was known as a deferral rate on the amenity fee that was for 1 year, and it was subsequently renewed annually for 8 years. The purpose of the deferral rate was to allow an equalization of the amenity fee that varied widely over the community. And that's an interesting point. In some of the older districts in the north of County Road 466, some of those residents are paying very low monthly amenity fees, and they are contracted to pay those fees until they sell their home. So there has been some language in contracts when the homes were sold in the north. And I know some of the amenity fees that some of the residents of the north are paying are less than $100 per month. Don Wiley continues to explain, just to be clear, the cap exists in no one's purchase agreement, and no one has a written agreement that the amenity fee would never go above a certain amount. They may have been informed of the deferral rate's existence by their sales representative, but it was never guaranteed. At the time of the discontinuation of the deferral rate in 2019, over 85% of the homes in the villages were at or within 95% of the deferral rate. And what he means there is that some village residents in the north are paying very, very low amenity fees, and they are not within the 85% of the deferral rate. They are not paying an amenity fee that is even close to the deferral rate. He goes on to say the budget projections at that time, based on the current trends at that time, showed a revenue shortfall within 2 years that increased more each year after. The shortfall would have been necessitated to be covered by the R&R funds to maintain the current level of services. The only way to maintain the status quo under the deferral rate would have been to either decrease the services offered by the amenities division, or B, defer facility maintenance and or replacements, or C, close facilities. So what he's saying there is that if they didn't increase amenity fees, they would reduce or eliminate some of the services that were offered. So the moral of the story is that there used to be what they called a cap on amenity fees, and it used to be $155 per month. And in 2019, they voted to remove that cap so they could increase amenity fees above that to cover their operating expenses. And I believe in February on the 18th, the AAC committee is going to talk about possibly reinstating the deferral rate or the cap. So I strongly encourage each and every one of you to attend that meeting at the Savannah Center and voice your input. Keep in mind, friends, that the total cost of living in the villages is still very reasonable when you add up the amenity fees, the maintenance fees, and the fire fees. Still very reasonable. I just wanted to bring you this to kind of explain the amenity fees, that they are going up. I did mention in a previous video, they are going up from $195 to $199. And you may have heard people talk about a cap or a deferral rate that was eliminated in 2019. I wanted to explain that a little bit. Thank you for liking, thank you for subscribing. I do appreciate it. Take care, everyone.